What's up, everybody? This is Fishman Presents, an amazing conversation between three people, two of which these dudes that I absolutely love everything they do, two of the greatest music streamers on all of Twitch, Chainbrain and Younggun. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Great to see you, friends.
Hey, my
Hello.
pleasure,
How
man.
are
Thanks for
you
having
dudes?
us.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks for having
absolutely, absolutely. Now, I've only been able to meet you all through here. We haven't been able to meet in person yet. Next tour, I'm sure we'll do that. So I want to take it way back. I want to know the origin stories. I'll obviously ask each of you individually the same question. But let's start with Mr. Younggun. Younggun, when did you first fall in love with music? What made you say, I'm going to pick up a guitar? What's the path, age,
All
time,
right.
all that stuff, and where you're
Cool.
from, and all of that, the origin.
Sure. Yeah, because that actually plays a lot into it, is where I'm from. And so I'm from Austin, Texas. About 12, 13 years old is when I really started diving into rock and metal, right? I grew up listening to a bunch of country. My dad had a huge hand in that. But alongside all of the country, we would listen to like hair metal, right? So it'd be Def Leppard, Twisted Sister, Poison, it's everything you would associate with teased hair and big leather jackets. And so it was as soon as I started branching out into Guns N' Roses and Metallica that the guitar really started catching my ear. Like I want to be able to do that. And really it was the bridge on Master of Puppets where I was like, okay, this is it. This is the one. And I've got to be able to play this someday. So I would say a couple years later, my mom got me a guitar for Christmas after I'd been borrowing a friend's and fell further in love. And it's been a wild ride since. From there, it was Avenged Sevenfold, then fell further into like metalcore, hardcore. Found Trivium when I was going to my first year of college, and then from there, the gates just busted open after that.
That's
So,
awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing. Chamberlain, how about you, my friend?
um well, so my dad is essentially me, but just older. So yeah, it all started there. Like there's a home video of me holding my dad's BC Rich Warlock. Like I'm like 3 years old and I'm like pretending to play Open Casket by Death.
That's
Um
amazing.
yeah, it's just like uh yeah, my dad's a shredder too. So like growing up, it's just like it was always around me, metal, uh, you know, and it was kind of like not an option to be a metalhead. Not that my dad would have forced me, but it's just like because it was around so much, it's just it's just became part of me real early, So um yeah, stuff like Death, Sepultura, Metallica, Judas Priest, like from a super super young age, like that's the stuff I was jamming to. And later on, like when I kind of just kind of decided to like listen to music on my own because it was always in the background. I really enjoyed it, but like around middle school, it's like, all right, like I'm gonna pick albums to listen to. Like I want to pick this. I'm gonna put it in the CD player and listen to it. And that's around like 13, 14, and it's just like you know. At that point, it was just like having a field day with my dad's stack of albums. Like, he had stuff like Children of Bodom, Arch Enemy, In Flames. It's just like, my parents were split growing up. So like I would go to my dad's for the weekend, load up on a stack of albums, go to my mom's for the week, rinse them all, rip them to my computer, weekend, go back to dad's, grab a bunch more. And he'd have stuff like, Yngwie Malmsteen, Vinnie Moore, Tony McAlpine, like all those shredders too. So, yeah, around that time, like 13, 14, it's like, I started to really hear like these guitar, maniacs, like, yeah, like Vinnie Moore, uh, Alexi, Jesper Stromblad from In Flames. And around that time, it's like, all right, I want to play. But the funny thing is, like, my first guitar, my parents actually bought for me when I was 7. They went on a big trip to the big city of Toronto, Ontario. I live in northern Canada. And they came back and they bought me a Jackson Dinky. And they were like, here you go. But I was 7. It's like, my dad's trying to show me a riff. And I'm just like, I want to play Nintendo. Like, this is, this is too much work. So the guitar sat under the bed, for a couple of years. And then when I was like 13, 14, it's like, oh, wait, I have a guitar. Like, hey, let me take this out. Let me print some tabs out and get started. So
That's awesome. I've always wondered what the hell was Jackson thinking when they called that guitar the Dinky. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
why is it the Dinky? Like when I think of Dinky, I think of like just this tiny little ukulele thing. But yeah, that's besides the point. What's awesome when I think about the musical breadth between the two of you, like that's like where like that scope of how you both got in the same gateway. And Younggun, you got into like metalcore stuff. Chainbrain, you kind of got into like the Euro metal stuff. That's like right where Trivium sits. That's like right
Isn't
where,
that great?
like, yeah, I kind of fell in love
Yeah.
with all those like two side things. So it's almost like you guys were like we're like a Venn diagram right here, the three of us. When
cool.
did you start? Because before we get to Twitch, obviously you have to get into video games first. So got into music, but when was the video game path? So there was the music path, Younggun. When did you start going like, hey, I dig video games. What kind of games were you into?
Great question.
And then where did that go from there?
Yeah, so very start again. My dad had a huge hand in this. Sega Genesis, Sonic the Hedgehog, was the start. 3-year-old me was all about it, and then every night we would play this game because I'm also a huge baseball fan, huge baseball player. We would play Triple Play '96, and I thought that was just the pinnacle of gaming. So yeah, 3 years old me, I've been hooked ever since. Then my dad was like, "You got to stop playing games." I'm like, "It's your fault, Dad. What do you want me to do?" Let's see. So from there, he gets us PlayStation, and there it's Digimon. I played Digimon World and Need for Speed. We would play Need for Speed on the big screen, and we had like a little racing wheel set up and everything. From there, PS2, Ratchet and Clank, still my favorite series of all time overall. But then I think the real obsession actually didn't start until I dove into Halo, and you can see down here, bottom to my left here. I'm obsessed, and they actually just dropped new Halo this past week. I've been playing nonstop. So let's see, Halo. I would say had to have been a few thousand hours in high school.
Yeah.
I would be at baseball practice, right? And instead of actually focusing on baseball practice, I can't wait to go home and play with my friends. So Halo, and then actually the start into PC gaming was a game called League of Legends, which is still like a massive, probably the biggest esports game out there right now. And I had to have sunk thousands of hours. I think I lost a couple of points on my GPA because I played too much League of Legends. I will be honest with you. And then from League of Legends, you have the gateway to Twitch, which is I used to spend hours watching Halo tournaments, but this is before Twitch even existed. But when I got into the pro League of Legends, just watching all of that, I've got a little, hang on, I'm gonna drag this into the frame. A little Cloud9 wristband that hangs right here. They're still they always have been, always will be my team. So watching the pros play League got me into Twitch, and then, I mean, the rest is history that we'll get to at some point.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Chainbrain, when did you start fall in love with video games, and what was the path up?
So same thing, you know, a lot of me is thrown back to my father, like my dad, huge gamer. So growing up, we always had everything, you know, Super Nintendo. Um, I remember one of like the greatest days of my childhood was the day we got the PlayStation 1, the PS1. It was like, oh my God. Like, you know, because we didn't have a lot of money growing up, and so we had, we rocked the Super Nintendo for a while, and then PS1 was out for a couple of years, but we finally got our own, and it was like, holy crap, like, so many worlds of possibilities opened up. Yeah, stuff like Need for Speed, and I was really hard into like Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil. I played all the Final Fantasies, like, essentially it just became like, this is kind of all I do. And luckily having a father who was a gamer too, like he was very understanding. Lots of times he was just sitting there with me too, like me and him on the couch, just taking turns, whatever, playing through our games. And so gaming was a huge thing for me. And then PS2 comes out, and things were a little bit better for our family at that point too. So like I remember getting the PS2 the first day it came out, like, we waited in line. My dad had the pre-order, and it's like, oh my God, and then I was like, for a couple days, I was the cool kid at school because people are like coming to me like, you have the PS2, what's it like? Yeah, so that was PlayStation 2, 360, trying to think what was my path after that. Yeah, then we kind of got into PC gaming, kind of like Younggun said, like I was around the similar thing, like League of Legends, Warcraft 3, StarCraft, the heck was it in high school? It was like Warcraft 3. It was a mod though, Dota. That was before League of Legends. I must have played. Oh man, I must have had like 5,000-6,000 matches of Dota. Like just yeah,
That's
like
nuts.
way
I
too
didn't.
much
I didn't know
time.
both you guys were MOBA players. I had no idea. No idea. 'Cause
We
Yeah,
I've
actually
tried
I
we've,
a
find-
we've
little
talked
bit.
about doing the chain gun bot lane at some point. I
Yeah,
think we still need to make that happen.
you should.
Yeah, we've been talking about that for like 4 years. We should
At
probably
least.
just do it.
Yeah, that'd be a fun stream.
That's awesome. Well, it's crazy like that you talked about like pre-ordering the PS2. That reminded me of like it's interesting that Young Gun you got in through Sega into PlayStation and then Chain like kind of the route to Sony. My family was always Super Nintendo. Like they're always Nintendo. I don't know why. I think probably because my mom's Japanese. I mean Sony's Japanese as well, but like we got an NES first, and then we're always a Nintendo family. I remember my dad took us to Toys R Us back when that existed. I don't know if that doesn't exist anymore. But
Yeah,
when you'd be able to-
they're not doing hot.
yeah, when they had that little plastic thing, we could pull out the tag, like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy this," and we could we pre-ordered the N64. I remember that like playing the N64. Like, still, I miss Super Mario 64 so much. That was like one of my favorite games of all time. That was such a good one.
That was one of the
Yeah,
first
I
things
remember-
I bought on my Switch for sure.
Yeah,
Was to
I remember
relive some of
renting.
that.
We rented an N64. We rented an N64 Jumbo Video. I don't know if you guys ever had a Jumbo Video around where you lived.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's just like a weird
it's
video
like
store.
a Blockbuster. Like Blockbuster. That's what.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, going to rent the N64 and like they gave it to you in like this big
I didn't know
Pelican
you could
case.
rent a system. That's
I know.
amazing.
Yeah, it was really expensive too. Like definitely dumb to do it. Like 'cause it was like probably just save a couple more bucks, you buy the whole thing. But yeah, renting the N64 and I don't know. We just I think the N64 just didn't jive with my dad. I think my dad also like being a metalhead too was all about like the audio, and the PlayStation had like the CD quality audio,
Yep.
right? Because it was on a disc, and N64 had like compressed kind of whatever. So I think that was like the key to us getting the PlayStation was the audio quality.
Now, since a lot of musicians now are all coming into Twitch, a lot more people are familiar with the term of Twitch. You guys have been around on Twitch since before musicians even really knew what it was, like myself included. So, Young, when did you decide, hey, I'm going to start a Twitch account? What year was this? How old were you? And then, obviously, how long have you been here?
Okay, so I think my account. let me actually. I can click in your chat right here. I think my account age is 2013, so 8 years. Yeah, 2013. I think April 2013. So again, this flows from the League of Legends, and I would watch every tournament every weekend, and I was like, I want to actually participate in chat and hang out with some of these streamers that I've been watching so much. So we get to the point where I see these people building these awesome communities they have around themselves, not just the fact that they're a big pro player, but they're fun to be with, and I want something like that for myself. However, I'm not great at League of Legends. It was the prevailing thought. Like, what can I stream? So at this point, I'd been playing guitar for I think 6 or 7 years. I was, let's see, I had to have been 25, 26. This is a couple years into the whole getting into the Twitch culture, understanding what Kappa meant, understanding what all these things that have evolved as a subculture. And I was like, okay, I want to give this a shot. And it's like, and I just found the game Rocksmith. It couldn't have been like 2 months previous, and I'd found all of the ways you could do the custom DLC and play all these songs that weren't in the game necessarily. So I bought some awful $5 webcam and hooked up my guitar and let it rip.
That's awesome.
And JP, I'm saying Kappa from our buddy Daniel Decay. Didn't know saying Kappa.
Yeah, Kappa.
When I was on his Knotfest podcast, he's like, "Oh, you mean Kappa?" I was like, not quite, Danny.
Alex Bent says Discord for Discord, but I never want to correct him, and I don't want him to stop. He's always like, "Oh yeah, are you on the Discord?" I was like, "Yes, I'm on the Discord."
Oh, I love everybody.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Well, that's amazing. So, Fierstein here said you've been on since June 2013.
June 2013. Okay, so yeah, that was the summer. For the first summer of LCS. That was when Cloud9 had joined LCS and all that and made their team. So yes, and then I think things started taking off. Not too long after that, I had my first raid from an old Rocksmith streamer named Wrath TV. Chain, Papa Wrath, and one of the heroes, one of the earliest, I would say, driving forces of music on Twitch was Wrath, and so yeah, still grateful for that, and kind of helped me start snowballing. That was probably 2017. Started streaming in 20. I want to say, oh, actually, it was my birthday. My birthday, February 2nd, 2016, and I've been going hard since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How about you, Chain?
Well, actually, very similar to Young Gun. I just checked my account here. So December 2012 is when I actually registered my Twitch account,
He's older.
and that was yeah. So that was probably watching some StarCraft 2 like esports on Twitch, maybe. So I knew of Twitch, you know, from watching stuff like that, like Dark Souls players and like speedrunners, like people doing like playing the games quick and stuff like that. So I was just always kind of like in and out of Twitch dabbling, you know, going to bed, toss on a stream. Um, never thought, you know, very similar to Young Gun as well. Never thought I'd be good enough at a game to ever, you know, be a streamer. Although like the idea was, you know, amazing. Like, hey, doing something fun and having a chat room and just, you know, making jokes with people and getting paid to do it. You know, that's the dream, right? Like that's the freaking dream right there. Yeah, I never thought I was good enough to play any game. Never even considered trying though, which I guess is, hey, you should, you know, it's probably the first step is trying. But so yeah, I've registered Twitch 2012, and you know, at the time, like going through, putting myself through college, whatever. You know, I took a course in IT, and then I got a job. Like I was working as a system administrator for a mining company, and I ended up getting a rotational shift job where it's like I would fly into a place, like a remote site, work there for 2 weeks, like 12-hour shifts, like eat there, sleep there, all that stuff. Come home, and then I have 2 weeks off to do nothing. And so coming home and having 2 weeks of nothing, it's like, well, you know, I'm spending more time gaming, more time playing guitar, more time watching Twitch, and yeah, just like Young Gun said, I found I don't know how, like I don't know how I ended up in the Rocksmith category on Twitch, but I saw a guy named Wrath TV, and he was just super chill dude playing along to Rocksmith on his guitar, just, you know, having fun, interacting with the chat. They're talking about metal, they're talking about guitar techniques, they're talking about gear. He had these like Chapman guitars that he really liked, and he's just like, you know, talking about the Floyds and his Floyd, and it just amazing stream. Like, what the heck is this? You know, I'm on Twitch and I love gaming and like, you know, watching StarCraft and League of Legends, but like this is, you know, this is like the perfect melding of stuff that I love right here. And I saw that and I was like, you know, I think this is a thing that I can potentially do. You know, this is like very similar to me, and I think that I could do this, or like I want to do this. I want to try this. So yeah, same thing. Went to Best Buy the next day, bought a C920 when they weren't like, you know, super inflated prices like they are now. Yeah, I got a Logitech webcam, and yeah, just tried it out the next day. But I was so bad at Twitch, like my first stream, I didn't even have my chat open. And it was just like, I'm just sitting there doing stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. Why is nobody saying anything in the chat? But it's like, I had the wrong chat room open. I don't know what the hell I was doing. And I didn't find out till later. Yes, I actually got raided by Wrath. The guy, like my first stream ever, he raided me, but I didn't know till afterwards when I got the email, like your
That's
Twitch
awesome.
summary or whatever. Yeah. So, yes, that was what the heck was that? That was 20. I think that was February or March 2017.
Cool, cool.
Was like around my first stream.
So 2016 Young Gun music stream and 2017 Chainbrain music stream. That's awesome. How many years ago was 2016, 16, 17, 18, 19?
Almost
Okay,
6 years.
yeah,
My 6-year stream anniversary is in like 3 months.
That's amazing. That's amazing for both of you. It's like one of the big things when I first started up on here, like it was really important to me to know the roots of what I was doing. I was like, all right, I'm playing music on Twitch. Obviously, Twitch was gaming first. Who were the first, like kind of the original band or the first or second wave of musician streamers? So I think it's so cool that you guys were there so early on. And feel free to be completely 100% honest with me, like, because I remember when I first started on here, there was like 5 to 15 people kind of there at first when I started playing games, picked up a little bit when I switched to music. And I remember rating this one channel. I won't say who it was. I rated this music channel once. And they're like, well, thanks very much, but a lot of us have a problem with you because you came in here and you have been stealing people's viewers, and you have it built in because you're in a band. I was just like, what the hell's going on here? And I was so hurt. But what have you guys thought about since the fact that a lot of musicians have been coming into the platform, like signed musicians, some of your favorite bands, some bands, like what has that done? Have you noticed that it's helped things? Has it not helped things? What do you see?
So I mean, literally the exact opposite mentality, right? Like we have so many people that never had heard of Twitch until musicians were like, "Hey, come check out Twitch. I just found it." I mean, you could whoever this was couldn't have been more wrong, right? I mean, when the COVID boom happened with musicians on Twitch, I think you can say the same, Chain. It really jump started my stream again, kind of brought a whole new wave of life into it. All these these music fans that like again would never have heard of one little bit of Twitch. So yeah, I'm super grateful for it.
That's cool. What do you think, Chain?
Yeah, I agree. It's I heard kind of sentiments of that when we started seeing Matt was hopping on here, and we had guys like Herman was another big one. Herman Lee was hopping on here, and yeah, I did hear like sentiments of that, like people being upset, which I just never really understood, because like how is it not beneficial to everybody else? If for me, like I'm a full-time streamer, I'm live every single day, and I only thought it would be helpful to me if like Matt's on here, and you're bringing metalheads to Twitch, and it's like, all right, well, Matt is done his stream for the day. It's like, well, what are these viewers going to do? They're probably going to click around and find other stuff. Like it's silly to think that that these musicians would be pulling people to their streams. I don't know. It's just we're all working together to bring the Twitch music community to where it is, right? It's yeah. I think that kind of mentality, like whoever said that, it's just like a very insecure it's a very insecure mentality to have, right?
I just can't believe the audacity to have said that.
I remember I was just like
Yeah.
heartbroken because this was when I was like, all right, I'm here now. I want to try to like support everyone that was there first. Like I was like, I know
Yeah.
I was not here first. Let's keep introducing everybody. And they're like, yeah, people are upset because they all had to work and you didn't have to work, and you just showed up with your audience already. And I was just like, I couldn't even defend myself because it was in their channel. So I was like,
But you did have to work.
I was
Like,
gonna
how
say,
many,
as a
how
yeah,
many,
it was so hard. It's so hard.
how many years?
Yeah, 4.5 years now is how long I've been streaming.
But even before that, right? Like you got to count like all the work you put in with your band.
Yeah,
like,
Trivium,
right.
22
Yeah,
years. 22 years.
You know,
And
it's not like-
it's so hard to bring your audience from one thing to another. I mean, when I first started on here, it was like, just like everyone, it was like 3 to 5 people watching me play Overwatch. And then when I switched to music, it kind of went like this, and then went back down when we started streaming shows, went like this. But it was like, exactly like Younggun said, when COVID happened, it's like everyone's streams blew up because everyone's finally home. We could all check everything out. And that's a mentality that I didn't just see it here. Like I see that in music world too. There are a lot of bands that don't want to bring out newer bands or don't want to bring out other bands because they want to keep that success to themselves. And I find when that happens, that really isolates, prohibits growth of things. I find that I don't know the exact term, like rising tides bring all ships. Yeah. And so for me, it's always been, that's why we're always talking about our favorite bands, talking about our favorite streamers, talking about our favorite people, bring them all up. Like if every band in our world does well, and or every musician on Twitch does well together, then we all do well together. We grow a larger audience, more people coming in. But yeah, I knew you guys would have a nice thing to say, but I remember I was just like, damn, what the heck? And I just couldn't defend myself. So I was like, all right, I lose this one. But I
still remember
digress.
that first day you rated. I mean, I was starstruck, man. I'd been such a Trivium fan for so long. Like, I mean, obviously now we can just sit here and talk as friends and all, but I was like, oh my God, it's Matt Heafy. Oh my God, it's Matt Heafy.
But you realize
Just my
now
heart-
I'm just a big dork that plays guitar, just like all of us.
It's
like
great,
all of us.
man.
I remember Matt you followed my channel, and I got the email for it. It was like Kiichi Chaos has followed you on Twitch, and I remember screenshotting it, putting it on Twitter because it was like,
I screenshotted
oh
his friend request.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's so
Hey.
good, and like that all the musicians that come over here, like everyone that's asked me about the platform, I'm always like, or the first couple of years of streaming on Twitch, I get a lot of questions like, "Oh, you're in that video game thing now, right?" That they're like, "I don't understand it," and I'm always in my head, I'm like, "It is so easy to understand. You just get on it, just download the app, click around like you said, and just watch a couple channels." So I think it's so important that every musician that does come over here does understand the roots. Same way I talk about musicians need to understand the roots of where their favorite bands come from. They need to understand the roots of what this platform is as well, and that's why it's important to look back and see. And that's cool about the Wrath TV thing is I didn't know about him, so it's cool that you guys are able to tell me about those roots and go further back.
I mean, we can tell you about as far as like there wasn't even a music category. There wasn't even we had what the creative category was what we all started. Like we started in Rocksmith at his own category. Then I think it was creative, and then IRL, and then like 2018 they finally made a music category. I think
music and performing arts.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the
Yeah.
MPA, music and performing arts.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can also definitely say, like, with everybody coming over, I've made some of the best friends that I never would have imagined even getting to I would get to call friends, right? I see my buddy Mike Lee on Shreds there in chat. I mean, I talk to that man, got to be every day nowadays. We'll game every night and hang out. And he's just one of the coolest dudes I met. Never would have had a chance to talk to him outside of Twitch. So it's just been awesome to grow in that aspect too.
It's amazing.
It's crazy. I saw Mike Leon play with Soulfly in my little city, my little Northern Ontario city. I saw him play with Soulfly before he streamed on Twitch. So it's like I saw him play in person, and then like a year and a half later, he pops up on Twitch, and it's like, wait a minute, you two are that band? Oh my god! Like, I was up front headbanging like right close to you, man. Like just a couple years ago.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Yeah, I love it. I love seeing how many, like, I love the communal aspect of this because it reminds you a lot of what we've tried to build with Trivium. And what's amazing is like both of you, myself, and a lot of our other favorite streamers, is like we get to know our subs and our regular viewers by name. I think that's such a cool thing. That's something that Brandon and John, my two Twitch mentors, those were the two guys that encouraged me to stream music. Because when I first picked up the platform, I loved it. Like I was like, "Hey man, I've got 5 people watching me play Overwatch on PS4. This is incredible. Like, who would want to watch this? This is so amazing." And I visited them, got to know them for a while, and I told them how much I love Twitch. I was like, "But I can't stream as much as I'd like to because I have to practice so much." I was like, blew my voice out in 2014. I got to keep the chops up. I'm very OCD with my practice regimen. And it was Brandon and John. They're like, "Why don't you stream that?" And then it was like from that, it all grew into something else. And what I've found is that what the three of us do for the most part is practice and play guitar. So I found that I've gotten so much better from streaming on Twitch than I ever was before at guitar. And you guys have just sort of been in the current, as I call it. So it's hard to recognize, but it's so cool to see that what you two are doing is nonstop practicing and woodshedding. So with that being said, how did your stream rigs evolve? What advice would you give to people? Like, how did you first start streaming music? What did that setup look like? What did it advance to now?
All right. Okay, so goes back again. I bought, literally, Chain had a much nicer start camera wise than I did. It was a $5 webcam. I swear to you. I mean, it couldn't even do 720p. I don't think. Maybe 20 FPS if it was not overheated, and just the Rocksmith cable and the guitar. And I would sit there. I would move the guitar across all the tunings to take requests instead of having either multiple guitars. Or what I have nowadays, and I think I was actually one of the first to adopt this and use this as a thing, right? With my little drop pedal right here, and to switch tunings and everything. This is essential, by the way. If you are streaming Rocksmith taking requests, this is the tool for everything.
So does that change the full tunings of the guitar?
Yeah, yeah. So so this side right here, we'll just take it either up or down, just depending on where you have it. Right, but by half step increments.
And it feels fine. It feels normal. That's nuts. I didn't know it does that.
Yeah, I mean, you can start hearing artifacting past, I would say, 3 to 4 half steps, and anything past that, you can just tell it's down tuned. But yeah, it'll do it all, man. And then I even use this side and the pedal, so I can do like the weird Pantera tunings and because they do like what A432, I think. Yeah. Was Dimebag's thing. So
that would mess up like ever wanting that perfect pitch. Like there's no hope of ever like if that was your default
I have to deal with it on those and just call it good. I just have to I kind of like very slowly tap the pedal. Does that sound right? Play a few, tap, play a few. But that thing has been essential. And then getting guitars for multiple tunings has been essential. I mean, shout out to ESP right there. Yeah, like Mike said, makes a good point. It does not sound good with the bass.
Yeah.
Bass, you need True Tune. But so that was had to have been 2017. I picked that up, and then slowly started upgrading the PC parts as the stream started growing and people started supporting. Built a nice PC. Finally got a 1080. I was so stoked on that when I got a. This is actually a good story. Best Buy had posted the 1080 for the 1070 price. As soon as I saw it, screenshotted it, bought it right away, and I was like, they were like, "Oh, we mischarged this." I was like, "No. Here's the proof." Yeah,
Customer's always
my
right.
1080. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So nice PC definitely helped too in terms of letting everything run smooth. And then once the oh gosh, it had to have been that next Christmas. My buddy literally just donated enough for me to get my first ESP. This one. Good guitar changes everything. This was my game changer. This is the OG, the EC401, and ever since then, been in love with these. And then from there, it was just more guitars. I think that was the biggest change, alongside like lights. Oh, I mean, lighting is pretty huge.
Yeah, I got the lighting idea from both of you. Like I didn't have lighting behind me, so then I just found these cool LED things. They constantly change. You can't see them on my. You can kind of see it like right there.
Yeah, I could see it from the corner right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I got that from both of you.
Isn't it? I mean, isn't it a game changer though? Just to
It
have.
really is. Yeah, because it's more inspiring to be in like a nice environment. I remember for a little while, like because I was huge into Fortnite, and I loved the Christmas levels. Like I just had a Christmas tree up here, but it took up too much space. So I had to get rid of that.
That's actually pretty.
Yeah, year round, just to make because I love Christmas. So I was like, I'm just gonna have this up in here and make me feel good all the time. But it was way too much space.
Christmas streams, I used to use that little overlay where it looks like snow falling down real slow. Because everybody does. I used to see all the League of Legends streamers using those. Yeah, lights was a game changer, especially when I figured out with the Philips Hue bulbs, you could let people control what the lights look like. And if I made a bunch of presets, and they can go crazy and chat with it.
The chat can control your lights.
Oh yeah,
That's insane.
Actually, here, Krista. I think Krista's here. She's one of my mods. KL Banesh. I'll turn the cycle on right now, and you can see people can go to my chat, and they'll start changing them. You can see the changing already.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Damn, I didn't know
have
you
a bunch
did
of
that.
different.
That's so cool.
And then still waiting on a key light, but I use the light out in the hallway, and that still keeps me right there.
Damn, that's really cool. So when you first started, did you have one PC? Did you go to multiple PCs? What's your setup right now? Because I know every musician has a completely different setup because there's
I
no
can't
really
wait
a
for the
guide.
multi-PC setup one day. So yeah, still on the same PC, but I upgraded. It's now got a 3080. I was very lucky. A viewer secured one for me. And then
I think I'm still on a 1080, by the way. I need.
1080 still does
work. I need to get a new one.
It is. Yeah, I'm gonna cut this one.
Can they strobe you with that thing or no? That'd be terrible.
So I'm gonna actually make some. I'm gonna make some animations here soon. I like this one. I'm gonna cut it on that one right there. They turned it pink, right? That's fine. So yeah, 1080 will still do work, and I'm gonna make some animations to where they can like choose one for extra points, and it'll kind of flash and whatnot. But yeah, in 1080 is still gonna do you great.
I wish I could see the rig that you're looking at from here. I know it's impossible. I know it's impossible. Don't rip anything out.
Oh no way. And actually, what's funny is even the panel on the side of my PC is off right now because I had to do some fan work. So it doesn't look too pretty right now, but it monitor here, multiple monitors. I think you'll also agree, Chain is just huge.
Yeah, Chain's got a lot of monitors. I've seen.
Yeah. Let it rip,
Yep.
Chain.
I got a couple.
You have what, 4 now, right?
Yeah, we got 4.
Dang.
It's too much. It's too much though.
Is there? I mean, so like when you're looking at 4, what all do you have on your monitors?
So up here OBS, and then here I'll have my Rocksmith game and my chat, and then on this one I'll have Discord, like resource monitor, so like CPU, GPU, RAM
nice.
usage. Okay. Down here will be the Spotify, and then up here will be alerts, and then my Twitch dashboard, and then down here will just be like anything else I kind of need, like song request list from viewers, anything else I got to run.
What advice would
But
you give?
honest,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say I don't think I need it. Like it's actually just overkill.
Yeah. I was going to say, what advice would you both give to people that are musicians, professional musicians, amateur musicians that all want to start streaming music on Twitch? Like, if they're like, I don't have anything, what the hell do I do? Shane, what would you say for that? Like, if and they want to start streaming, but they don't even know the first step, because that's like when I came in, I didn't even know the first step. Like, I was like, I had no one to talk to, no one to ask. But what would you say to them?
Well, I would say from a complete like community perspective, I've actually had we've had a lot of musicians reach out to me like asking for advice, like to get started streaming and stuff. And it might sound a little bit weird, but like I think if you are an established musician and you have songs and stuff and you're bringing it to Twitch, it's kind of weird to say, but it's not necessarily about your music. It's about you as a person, right? Like if you're coming to Twitch and you want to make it happen, like what you say and do between your songs is more important than you playing your actual music, I think. Because being successful on Twitch is about the community. It's about interacting with people. It's about um building that community through inside jokes, like stuff that happens on stream. Like, I know sometimes people might get stressed out if something is not working well in the stream, but like stuff like that, like, that creates the magic. Like I kind of, I'm kind of weird to, it's kind of weird for me to say, but it's like, if your stream is a little bit scuffed up and like a little bit, things are not going good and like, there's audio issues sometimes, it's like, if you're able to laugh that stuff off, like that is, you know, if you can make light of that sort of stuff, like that builds the inside jokes for your community. Like, it's stuff that people will enjoy, and it's like you can call back that kind of stuff. Hey, remember that time we did this on the stream and it was really funny? Yeah, everybody laugh about it. Um, like I think that is the important part of streaming. It's your personality, it's what you do. And I really feel like the music and stuff is secondary almost. Obviously it's important, like, you know um but it's really about you and how you greet and interact with the viewers,
It's an amazing
because they
point.
want to see you. They
Yeah,
want to
I've
see
never
you.
heard
They want
anyone mention that before. Like, but
Yeah.
that totally does make sense, because if you think about the platform, all these different streamers playing all of these different games, all these different things happening, it is about the person. They want to watch the person. The medium is
Yeah.
kind of interchangeable. That's fantastic. Yeah, because like some musicians that have asked me, I remember like right around pandemic time, they're like, how do I get into it? Or even like before that, like, what do I do to start? I was like, just start. They're like, well, I need to build a stream. I'm like, no, you don't. You just have to start. Stream on your phone, stream your laptop. It doesn't matter. People like bring your fan base over, especially if you have one. Now, if you don't have a fan base, it's a little bit different. You have to grow one. But I've talked to some musicians that are still working on building their stream rigs, and it's been like a year. It's like, you just have to start. Like, you can't wait that long. Younggun, what would you say, like, for musicians? Like, I want to start. What the heck do I do? Like, professional or non-professional?
I got two rules. Of streaming. Rule 1, never tell them everything you know.
Yeah, I like that.
And then obviously people, what's the second rule?
What's the second rule?
On a much more serious note,
That joke.
I exactly. Much more serious note. I do get this question a lot in chat, and so I've come up with a few things that I think are essential. If you're trying to really grow a stream, once, like you've said, you've actually just finally just got up and done it. I would say network around your stream size, right? Like, you're not going to go raid Shroud with 5 people and expect to, have them even notice, who you are or anything like that. So network and support those around you. The other thing I had to kind of come up with myself is, whenever you raid somebody, don't expect anything back. Just do it because you want to support somebody else, and then create some of those positive vibes for somebody else, and then they'll want to come back around. And I think the mentality of that is essential for growing long term. Is just don't expect anything. Just maybe kind of hope. Let's see. Yeah, but Chain nailed it in terms of kind kind of rolling with the punches, essentially. I mean, Chain, you do it better than anybody I've seen, man, in terms of kind of capitalizing and creating memes out of some of the either the weird stuff that happens. You know, you've got your G, you've got your
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that anymore.
Okay, fair. You got Matt Alaka guy, right? I mean, you got so many fun ones. Big Chungus in chat. Look at him. Yeah, you're somebody I definitely look up to in terms of the way you capitalize on things, and yeah. So yeah, to bring it back though, network around your size and help others grow, and you know, it leads back to the rising tide raises all ships, and that's something I've lived by for as long as I've been streaming, and it's been essential for me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, it's like I think of a couple of the right questions that I was asked early on from different musicians.
Vinny.
Like,
Yes, Vinny. Sorry,
that's
that's my favorite one. There's this. Okay, I don't know if you know about this guy. There's this guy named Vinny, and he'll pop into everybody's chat and he'll just say his name, Vinny, like a Pokemon. I literally call him a Pokemon because he just says his name, and then Chain just makes him a VIP. He has emotes about Vinny, and
Vinny.
I don't know. I adore it. I think it's hilarious.
That's awesome.
I was so annoyed by it, and Chain just like, yo, what's up, Vinny? You're a VIP.
Oh
That's
no,
awesome.
you were annoyed and I made emotes. Oh
I
god.
know. No, I've learned to embrace it. I've learned to have fun with it. But God, it's just it's amazing.
That's so
And
awesome.
again, it's just a testament to how good you are at that, Chain.
I've definitely learned that a lot of I love watching your two streams of how human it is, how connected it is. It feels like when I'm watching you, it feels like we call it my manager calls it the Bruce Dickinson effect. So Bruce Dickinson they can play an arena. There's 30,000 people there. Bruce can point up and look at one person in the rafters and it feels like he's singing to you. It feels like all of a sudden you are in like a bookstore and it's just him and you. And I think that's what we call the Bruce Dickinson effect. And I do that live a lot. Like I'll kind of like look around and like sing to something over there. But I feel the same thing when I watch your two channel. Like I feel like it's just the two of us. And I think that's such a huge thing to embrace. And so when I was talking to other musicians that we're wanting to get in this platform for the right reasons. So like, I want to keep growing my community. I love the people that I have. Like, I love so much that a lot of the people in the channel, they game together. I'll see them in the game chats. They're playing games together. They all started streaming or they all fundraise for, whether my fundraiser, they create their own fundraisers. A lot of our mods all went to one of our mods' weddings and they all hung out. They did the honeymoon down here in Orlando. I was able to eat with them and hang out with them. That kind of stuff is what makes me so excited. But then there'll be times where I'll get like the wrong question. I kind of know coming in, like a musician be like, all right, so which one do I make more money off of, Patreon or Twitch? I'm like, well, if you're coming in with that question, then you have to do this for the love of wanting to do it. Like the certain questions that I'll get about how much do I have to do this before this turns into something? I was like, you have to always want to be here. I feel like the audience can tell. Just like when any of the three of us, we go see another band, the band's hating it, you kind of feel that. Like, all right, I feel that you guys do not enjoy what you're doing. And that really seeps through into here. So I found that like I've become more personable, funnier. Like I think that the whole idea of bands living anonymously in the shadows is not really a thing anymore, you know, because like we're so... With the world being this connected with this many social media mediums, that we're able to recognize how everyone truly is just a normal ass person with the same issues as everyone else, and that's what makes it so much more fun. So when Shane, we were talking about like allowing the human element, the mistakes, the errors, like those have always been some of my favorite parts, and it makes me think of when we did a Light or Distant Mirror pay-per-view show. I was talking to my early Twitch mentors, Brandon. He's like, you want to know what my favorite moment of that was? Is when Alex's drum messed up, his snare drum broke, and you guys all froze there for a second and had to talk about it. He's like, because at that point, I didn't even know it was live. He's like, I thought it was pre-recorded. And then when that happened, it was the human element. And I think that's just such a cool thing. That's something more from Twitch, that we want to see people being human. We want to see what it's like, the behind the scenes effort it takes to bring someone to where they are now. And so, yeah, it's really cool to get both your insights on that. Where do you each see the future of Twitch going? Like, and that's a very open-ended question. Like anything, like what do you think, each of you, like in any open-ended interpretation?
Okay, so I've loved the live show aspect, and I think there's a lot more to explore there, with just creating these events, right? Because I mean, you see people do the pre-recorded ones. I would love to see more like Light or Distant Mirror, where it's, you know, you like you said, create the human element. Which, to go back to your previous question, actually is something in terms of advice that I have worked hard on is getting to know every single person making them feel welcome. So one more piece for anybody listening out there, make people feel welcome. It helps. So a future of Twitch, yeah, to see more live stream shows like that, I think would be so cool because people are still kind of getting locked down. And I mean, yeah, here in Texas, everybody's pretending it's not a thing, but it's still raging out there. So
Florida too.
yeah,
Florida, Texas
we're,
are
we're,
our
kind of, we're
siblings.
kind of both.
Yes.
We really are. Because I mean, I'm gonna drive and go see a show tonight. Like there's nothing wrong, and I feel weird about it, but I'm not gonna pass up seeing Silverstein. Yeah, some more live shows, and I mean, I feel like in terms of the Twitch becoming a household name, it's still in its infancy. So that question's so open. I mean, you could walk down the street and 9 out of 10 people aren't going to know what Twitch is yet. Still, and as big as it is, there's and as much as people have gotten from the platform, there's still so much more to do. Chain, do you have any ideas? Because I kind of along for the ride.
Well, I mean, I kind of, yeah, I think we're going to get a lot more. Like, we're still seeing it like so many. If you're going to go like completely musician aspect, we're still seeing all kinds of people like coming to all kinds of musicians coming to Twitch now. And I think it's only going to, broaden the audiences a bit like more and more. And, but yeah, like to Young Gun's point, Twitch is still, you know, it's crazy to think like we think live streaming and Twitch is the biggest, but it's still so small, like from the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Twitch will ever hit like YouTube in terms of recognition, but I still think there's much more growth to happen, and I think it's just going to keep growing. And so if we're talking about musicians hopping on Twitch, like who are interested, I think like from us, from our perspective, it might feel like I hear a lot of like people are going out into the world again. COVID lockdowns are kind of ending and people are going out. So like this viewership bubble that we might have had is kind of like deflating a little bit. But I think in the grand scheme of things, like Twitch is only going to go up. Like, so right now is like the time to get in. Like if you're thinking about it, like this is the moment when you should be hopping onto this website and building a community because, you know, it's only going up. And I know there's like teams at Twitch, they're working very hard to get a lot of people on here and they're going to keep working hard. And, we're just, I think we're like at the bottom of the mountain right now. And I think it's about to, it's going to peak. Like it's going to go up.
That's awesome.
We climbed the hill leading up to the mountain. Now we're at the base. We're ready to.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's, yeah, it's kind of weird to think, but like I think the growth that we've seen, it's like I think it's nothing compared to what can happen, and I think will happen.
Absolutely, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it is amazing to see there's a full-on music team now, and like I think you both have met Fred, hopefully through social medias and stuff. Like Fred was with Trivium from in waves through What the Dead Men Say, basically. So it's so cool that I was able to keep working with him. They bring someone who knows metal, who knows the music industry in and out. It is amazing to see the growth. And I remember I misquoting, I'm sure someone in chat might know, misquoting which organization it was. I don't know if it was HBO or it was CNN or somewhat. They were saying like they look at Twitch is more like the competition that will be than other like streaming apps, which I thought was so cool to see that. I have to see what they're going to say. I think maybe it was HBO. Like they look at Twitch as the competition instead of thinking about another streaming app, which I think is such a great thing. And I really do hope it keeps growing. And the way it keeps growing is the attitude the three of us had is, acceptance, community, consistency, and allowing all of us to do well together and all of us to grow together. So I hope that every musician comes in and just learns their roots, learns from the source, learns from just getting in there. And it is so funny. Like I don't really get the question anymore, but 2 years ago, every single one was like, I don't get the whole Twitch video game thing. And it's like, you just have to get into it. It's just like metal. You just have to listen to it. You don't understand it. Just listen to it. Yeah, you got to try things. I think people are too skittish, and it's not a matter of time. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to go into one of the three of our streams or jump into Nick Merck's stream. Like, all right, who's the top streamer? And jump in there and watch for a little bit. Then you understand what it is. You're like, all right, here it is. I get it. Very cool. Very amazing insights.
Interesting to compare that to metal in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Because it is a thing that people can be intimidated by almost, right? because I mean, oh, the people are like, oh, scary, screaming music, right?
Exactly. Yeah, because like I would game a lot with Dakotas, and Dakotas didn't really know too much about metal, and he's like, oh yeah, it's like this super heavy stuff. It's like, well, let me show you some stuff that I think you might like. I'm like, well, what do you like first of all? And he told me like he likes really cool like indie rock and like kind of darker indie like folk stuff. And I was like, well, check this song out by us. Maybe you'll like this. Kind of like using the gateway of getting someone in. You know, I'm not
I
gonna
love doing that for people.
It's so fun.
Just like being able to connect the dots to things that I love that I think would love if they just gave it a chance. And that's all they have to do, right? The same with Twitch, just give it a chance because it's such a fun and really unique experience to be able to just go onto your computer and feel like you're a part of a community just by saying hi in chat, and you get 20 highs right back at you, you know?
Yeah, it's nuts. I believe that an open-minded, and this is gonna great segue to where I was thinking of going. An open-mindedness to food leads to an open-mindedness to all things. Like there's so many metal musicians or musicians before we ever went to Europe, for example. These bands that we looked up to, I'd talk to them like, oh, what's Europe like? They're like, oh man, the food's freaking terrible. Remember talking to one guy, said he would take sleeping pills all day to stay asleep in his bunk just because of how terrible Europe was to be in. I was like, oh my God, this is the worst place in the world. I never want to go there. And I talked to another musician who would fly with multiple luggage bags full of canned tuna just to not have to eat the food. Or I was like, oh my God, this sounds like a horrible place to be. This just went over there the first night. We had something local. Like, this is incredible. What the hell is everyone talking about? So, food. What is your favorite cuisine, favorite meal, or like it could be either thing. Like favorite thing to eat, favorite meal of all time, something you had as a kid, something you eat now. What's the thing you look forward to, the thing you dream about?
Oh man, this is the most Texas answer of all time. Are you ready?
Yep, go.
Chicken fried steak.
I do love chicken fried steak. I heard your southern accent peek through when you said that.
Chicken fried on the fried, right?
Yes.
My mom has the same thing, and I think I picked it up from her. Like she'll sound relatively normal, and then every time you hit that kind of isolated I syllable, it's not I, it's I.
My father-in-law's from Tupelo, Mississippi, and I think Tupelo, Mississippi, but he lived in Alabama most of his life. So whenever I'm with them, I actually pick up a southern accent as well. And then
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, and then on stage, I talked about it with Matt from Avenged, and we both said we both pick up southern accents in our speaking parts on stage for some odd reason. And he's from California, I'm from Japan, and we both will have southern accents. Great
argument for nature versus nurture, right?
Yes. Chain, how about you? Favorite dish, favorite thing?
Well, listen, I live in very northern Ontario, Canada. We're not very cultured up here. Obviously the staple dish for Canada would be poutine. Just
love it.
Yeah, it's
I've still yet to dive in. I have to try one day.
It's so good.
Dude, you gotta.
I gotta come up there.
You make it.
Oh, you make it? Oh,
just make it,
dude. It's so easy to make, and that's the thing. It's like if ever I'm on Twitch and it's like sometimes I order food when I'm streaming, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna get a chicken buffalo wrap with a side of poutine, and people are like, what the hell is that? What do you mean poutine? It's like, well, it's just fries, cheese curds.
The curds, okay.
And I will say though, people there are some poutine supremacists out there who will say like the cheese curds are required. I wouldn't say they are. I would say like any shredded cheese, just get it on there, get the hot gravy on top, melt the cheese, and you're good to go. Like it's just super simple to make, very salty, but
it's amazing.
It's just
I'm hungry now. Damn it.
Yeah, same.
Poutine, but like my additions is adding fried eggs, like 1 to 3 fried eggs on top of that. And then like
protein,
and since you're in Texas, carnitas on top. Put like Mexican food on top. That is insane. Yeah. That's all poutine is. It's like the ultimate drunk food.
The mixing of border from north to south, dude.
Yes,
I love it.
You mix it all. But yeah, that's the 3 main ingredients. Yeah, is exactly what Shane said. I love them so much. I remember having duck fat fried fries for the one I had in Montreal, and those were some of the best poutine I ever had.
Do you know what place it was? What place it was in Montreal?
I don't, but I do know my favorite restaurant in Montreal, and that's Le Bremner. It's a seafood. Actually, you know what? It would have been Le Bremner. Le Bremner made them there. So it's a seafood restaurant. Chuck Hughes, I think, is one of the most popular Canadian chefs. He's like the super tall guy covered in tattoos, does the catering for Heavy MTL. But one of his chefs, the trainer underneath him, Danny, it's his restaurant, Le Bremner, and that was the best meal I've ever had in all of Canada. The other favorite spot for food for us in Canada is Vancouver. And I would say Vancouver has mutant sushi. Yeah. Their sushi hunks are like this freaking big for some reason. I don't know why. Is it a big seafood place where you're at, Chain, or not necessarily? Are you guys close to the
No,
water?
we're right in the middle of the. We're not even close to a coast. So, here it's like if you want to get a lobster, it's like $1 million. It's like,
Yeah, Maine lobster in Florida is super expensive. Like we've got Florida lobster, just it's not as half as good. Like it's fine, it's just not as half as good. But where Corey grew up, he grew up in like the lobster area, so I actually went lobstering with his family, and they do like the trap style fishing for lobster.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then
That's
I
amazing.
went lobstering with my family in the Keys, and the way you do it in Florida is with a crowbar and a net and a mask, and you just dive under and you use the crowbar you tickle them. That's what they call it in Florida. You tickle them so they shoot backwards into the net, and that's Florida style. So that shows you what kind of state I live in.
Just picturing.
Florida style.
Yeah.
You said crowbar first, so the first thought I had right away was just somebody fishing with a crowbar, and I was like, I don't know if I've heard anything more Florida.
That
man
was me. I have
fishing
fished with a crowbar and a net. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I was picturing like Gordon Freeman in Half-Life, just
Yeah.
Florida is a special kind of place. Well, it's what's funny.
Actually,
Yesterday, were you gonna say, Shane?
Oh, speaking of Florida, what were these videos of you cutting down
I was
trees?
about to actually mention that. So my father-in-law is super southern. We've got this plot of land that he belongs on. It's called the camp. It's like their hunting camp. I don't know how many acres. It's gigantic. It's this gigantic piece of private land that only like 12 people are members on. But Ashley's been going there since she was 12. And I've been going up there since we've been together. So we brought the kids up there, and they start hauling these giant redwood hunks, and they're busting out the chainsaw. They're just going to chainsaw the stuff. I was like, hey, this would make really great content. Can I do this? Can you teach me how to do this? Like, I remember the first time I ever hung out with my mother-in-law was in a tree stand as she was hunting for deer. That was the first time I ever hung out with who was going to be my mother-in-law. As soon as I started dating Ashley, she's like, all right, I'm not in town. You got to go hang out with my mom. I was like, okay, I guess we're just going to have conversations or something. But she brings me to a tree stand where she's sitting there sighting a scope. I'm like, okay, this is the family I'm coming into. But so my father-in-law was teaching me how to use the chainsaw yesterday. When I posted the videos of the chainsaw, I have never seen so many corrections of form for chainsawing in my entire life. Like, that's why, like, I don't mind too much. Like, I talked to a lot of people that do like Muay Thai or boxing. Like, I hate posting videos of boxing because everyone's always correcting my form. I've noticed I'll have a lot of corrections of form for that stuff. But this was even more than that for chainsawing. They're like, oh, first of all, you should be wearing chaps, better hearing protection. Your form looks bad. You shouldn't be going in the dirt. Every time you go in the dirt, you're weakening your chain. I was like, good Lord, this is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, you see it on Twitch, the backseat gamers.
Oh, yeah.
You got backseat guitar players, and now Matt's got backseat
chainsaw
chainsaws.
people. It's nuts. But then that other hydraulic thing, that hydraulic wood splitter was pretty amazing. Like, I saw like my brother-in-law was doing that with his cousin. They were just splitting wood. I mean, this is like as Florida as it gets. It is just the woods. It's a couple campers and people off hunting. So I go over there and they just have this hydraulic wood splitter. I'm like, man, that thing's really loud. I go over there and they're letting the kids try. I let my kid try it. He freaks out, loves it. And then I start doing like, this is incredible. It's so satisfying splitting wood with a hydraulic wood splitter. And so I was like, I bet this will be good content. So I took video. But then someone said I put the wood in badly. They said it was like I put it in an angle it shouldn't have been. So then I even had hydraulic wood splitting comments of how my form was off. Can't win. Can't win.
Would you say the experts came out of the woodwork?
Okay.
All right.
Pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, so Florida is it's different. Like, a lot of people just think Disney, but it is very country here as well. So that goes back to that southern accent that I'll pick up sometimes.
That's probably similar to up here. Like, where I live, it's like a mining community. Our city has 45,000 people. Like, it's not big at all. And yeah, we don't have a lot of stuff. And, everybody here is into hunting and snowmobiling and four-wheeling and going to the cottage and fishing. And I'm just like, yeah, I just gonna sit at my computer here and play video games. And
honestly, it's pretty crazy how similar some of our upbringings, right? 'Cause I graduated with 50 people in a town of 1,000, and so everybody's idea of fun on the weekend was going to the pasture and drinking or fishing, and I was like, I just want to play Halo with my friends. So
yeah.
There with you.
Our relatives are always like, oh, don't you and Ashley, don't you guys want to stay out here with the kids and like the guest camper? And it looks like a scene out of freaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm like, I mean, I usually sleep on a bus anyway, so I'd rather drive the 30 minutes and get home and sleep at home.
I drive past that house a bunch where they filmed Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, really?
That's close to me. Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Little town called Granger.
Dang. I did get to drive my first, it's not the normal four-wheeler, it's the one that's like the motorcycle four-wheeler. I don't know what that's called. I got to drive that for the first time yesterday. My brother,
Spider,
it goes super fast. It's like
right?
motorcycle controls.
It's okay. I think
But,
okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, why don't you get on?" I was like, "I've never gone before. Kira, want to go?" So it's like one of those, like you just go for it. That was a fun
Oh
time.
yeah, so it's like we just
quad.
call them four wheelers.
A quad.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Just okay. So yeah, I was thinking like something like super fancy. No, you're just talking about a quad bike. Yeah,
Yeah,
four wheeler.
that's the
We just
one.
call them four wheelers. I would take those off of hills and jump them and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have when my dad has on his side of the family like a 5-acre fishing tank that
Yeah.
we would go to when I was 10 like every weekend. And so yeah, I'm right there with you. It's totally engrossed in that.
That
It's
was
it's
that was the later end of my life though. Like in the beginning, like my mom immigrated here with me from Japan, and my dad was still in the Marines. So she
okay.
spoke Japanese with me. Like I originally spoke Japanese with her. We kind of just stayed inside and I played video games and watched anime. And like my first sport I ever got into was only 9 years ago. I never really used to go outdoors until I met
Yeah.
Ashley. But our kids, what's awesome, they're just like barefoot, like playing in the dirt at all times. But I never did that. Like I never was like outside or playing sports. So I'd always get hurt. Like I remember I broke my foot in volleyball. I broke my thumb in volleyball all in high school. And just like my feet were super weak when I walk on rocks, I'm like, ow, ow. But now I'm always like barefoot with the children as well. So that was kind of good that outdoor world kind of balanced this.
Yeah, you need those hobbit feet.
Yes.
You gotta
Now
get
I
those hobbit
absolutely
feet,
have
yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we should talk a little bit about guitars as well. I don't know if you guys have
that's
them.
what we do, that's right.
Yeah, that is what we do. So, like, what I really want to do is pick your brains on techniques. It doesn't even have to be anything like flash or anything, but just something you like that maybe I don't know. But I can get the ball rolling on that as well if we want to.
I was thinking on this one. Yeah, there's actually, so this goes. I'll lead in with there's actually a bunch of bands on, out there that I would never have found without Twitch, right? And two of those bands are Fit for an Autopsy and Gojira, and Fit for an Autopsy being pretty heavily influenced by Gojira, so it's funny that I found them both because of Twitch. But easily the favorite thing I've learned about, I didn't know this was a thing in guitar. Learned from both of these bands is the harmonic scrape.
Oh, yep.
Right, you drag the pick down as you drag your finger down across. I fell in love with that.
I did a deep dive into that because we did that a lot on the Waves. Did a couple of the new record, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's the Gojira scrape." I'm like, "Yes." Like, it was Joe that taught me how to do that. It was Trivium, Gojira, Annihilator, and Sanctity in 2006 or 2007. We did a European tour. And I remember asking Joe, I was like, "How do you do that laser beam sound?" And he showed me. He showed me like the exact, the perpendicular rake upwards with the slight muting.
Yeah.
He said he got that from Morbid Angel. So I was like, all right, I'm going to look up when Morbid Angel did. I asked Corey.
This is a full deep dive.
Yeah,
I'm
Corey,
loving. Okay.
Corey knew right away. He's like, oh, which Morbid Angel song was it? I'd have to ask Corey again. It's off Domination. I think was the first time they really did that. And I dug even further back. I was like, where can I find another one? The Mirror by Dream Theater. I think John Petrucci might be the first person that I've been able to find from like 94.
94, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, that'd be on Awake, right?
Yes. So this is the one thing I can't figure out about my rig. So I remember I was getting into all the everyone was yelling at me in chat.
So I saw Sal. I was like,
I remember when I first got into Fortnite, I was hearing about streamers using two PCs. Like, why the hell would they do that? And everyone's like, well, Matt, of course it makes sense. All the load of the game into the load of the streaming. So I built a rig. Now mine it's 2 Macs fed into a PC for the audio. The reason why it's 2 is the M1, I got it right when it came out. And I asked 2 of my producer friends, I asked Josh Wilbur and Darren Schneider from Full Sail. I was like, what's the best Mac I can get for doing Logic? Like, because I use Logic as an open system, like an open setup for all my stuff. They said the M1. I got the M1. It was incompatible with literally everything. Incompatible with every piece of hardware, software, just didn't work with anything. Chat was the one that actually helped me figure out, open it with Rosetta, it'll work. So I used the Symphony desktop that also was incompatible with the M1. So it's just screaming at this thing. I was so mad at it. Finally got that to work, but it wasn't enough inputs. So I had the Element 46, which has 4 inputs. So I ran those two things together. It was incompatible. So I have to use a MacBook Pro for the Element 4 inputs of my amp, and the desktop is using the microphone and a DI at all times. So at all times, I've got the left, right of the Capture X, the DI, and a vocal at all times. So that's the 2 system, and then that goes in from the Symphony digital audio converter into an Apogee Duet digital audio converter to bring all the audio into there. So everything audio comes from here, but when I'm talking to you guys, this is PC audio. I can't hear anything that's happening from here. So I have to like fully switch headphones. So
Oh,
long,
whoa.
long story.
Oh,
But that
yeah,
proves
yeah.
exactly what the issue is.
That's pretty fun. That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah. So yes, Nate, unfortunately, you're gonna have to mute that Dream Theater explosion in the thing. Sorry about
Thanks,
that,
Nate.
guys.
Thanks, Nate.
Chain, what's a technique you can either show me, tell me? What do you got?
Oh, I don't know. This is a little bit on the spot. So
Or a
Younggun
technique
brought up the
you like
pick.
that I might not do, that I might not know about. Doesn't have to be techie, doesn't have to be just something you like that you like to do that maybe I don't know about that I don't do. Or
You know what though? I will say, um, in terms of guitar playing, and so like when I started streaming, I'm a self-taught guitar player, right? No lessons, a little bit from my dad, but my dad was also self-taught. Very, playing metal, but kind of just however you develop your own technique, sort of thing. And I economy picked everything, like a
yeah,
straight
I
economy
don't know
picking.
how to do that in economy at all.
So that's how I played everything.
Yeah.
Alternate kind of whatever the easiest way to hit the next string. That's how I did it. And when I started streaming, and people are asking me to play, uh, metal stuff in the Rocksmith, and I kind of made it a point. It's like after watching your stream, like how the frig does Matt? The big one for me was like Light to Flies, that main riff, dent, dent, dent,
Mhm,
dent,
mhm.
dent, 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 dent. And so for me, it would be like down, up, down,
Huh.
down, up, down, down, up, down. Um, watching you do it down, 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 down pick, and I'm like, how the heck does he do that? I can't do that. Like I try and down pick like 6 notes, and it's like I feel the one of the muscles in here just like not hurting, but just like like so weak. Um, so yeah, the last maybe year or two, it's like I've been really, really focusing on down pick technique, and there's lots of memes out there like, oh, got a down pick, play Metallica, you got a down pick, whatever. I've always been for me, it's always been like, as long as you're hitting the notes and it sounds cool, whatever. Um, but actually, just yeah, watching your practice and your technique, it's like that's really, I've really been focusing on like down picking
Thanks,
precision
man.
and
Thank you.
speed.
Thank you. Yeah, well,
And
the trick with that is like, unfortunately, downpicking is not as like fun to rehearse as like shreddy stuff, solo stuff. But downpicking is just metronome, like everything is. But it's like more like
yep.
building strength for lifting weights than it is like guitar playing. What's interesting about downpicking of Corey versus me is he can actually downpick faster and longer, but his picking is so much, no offense, Corey, it's just so much lighter than mine, but his picking still is intense. But like I pick super, super hard at all times. That's why I really like that I use Evertunes now, because Evertunes, people are like, well, you have to bend a little bit harder, you have to hit a little bit harder, but it allowed me to play more like myself. When we did In Waves, this is before we knew about Evertunes, we're using Gibson Les Paul Customs for all of this stuff. Colin would have us tune after every 15 to 20 seconds of recorded music, which means I would play a little bit, stop, let's tune. Stop, let's tune. And like I can't work like that. Like I have to just be able to like play a whole thing. Like if we're gonna do it again, let's just do it again. Let's do it again. I don't like to start and stop.
Full take, right?
Yeah. So when Josh Wilbur was like, "Hey, we should get this Evertune thing," he's like, "If I told," he sold it like this. He's like, "If I told you I could cut your guitar recording time in a quarter or in a half, would you do that?" I was like, "Yes." He's like, "Oh, okay, let's do it." So that's why I've been able to be really into that. But for downpicking for flies, I would drop it like 20 BPM below, master every single increment. Once you master the album tempo, go like 2 to 5 above that, master it at that. And so it's like putting resistance weights on yourself, and then you drop back down.
It's like swinging a weighted bat in the on deck circle.
Exactly, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know sports.
Sports ball.
But the stuff off Ember, that's actually some of the hardest down picking, because we didn't record to a click, and that's one of my biggest regrets. Like I wish we did Ember to a click, but we didn't. The tempos will fluctuate. There's like probably like sometimes 10 tempos per song, because just we're all excited. We were kids, the adrenaline and all that stuff. But the down picking on, I think My Hatred is some of the most difficult fast stuff, as it goes and that stuff is all meant to be that hybrid picking into all down picking. The thing I would challenge you guys to learn, I could show you, let me show you on guitar, because I just got these new prototypes and I'm really excited about them. The pickups sound good. One second.
Oh yeah.
I gotta plug my headset in. It's dying. It'll do the SOS sound when it's dying. I love it.
Actually, I'll show you
Shout
off
out, Astro.
6. But I can't hear you.
Matt can't hear us say nice things. I love you, Matt.
Wait, who's this Matt guy? What?
All right, let's make sure this isn't too loud. Maybe turn your volume down just in case.
Okay. All brace.
Can you hear that?
You hear anything, Jane?
No, it's not coming through there.
I can't hear anything.
I only hear strings clicking.
Just hear strings. Damn.
It's the
I know
opposite.
chat
It's not
does.
loud at all.
Maybe Discord doesn't pick up guitar audio. Nothing.
No.
Chat's got it. It's on stream. Okay, so
Okay, as long as it's on the stream. There we
you'll
go.
hear the thing pick up through the mic. Down, 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 up, down is the thing I want to show you guys. So all that is. It's just down, 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 down. I use it so much on a lot of ascendancy stuff. I'll just show you the first pattern. So it's just down, 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 down.
I feel like that's how I
But that is one of my favorite techniques to use, and I got the idea a little bit from Chuck Schuldiner from Death, and a little bit from Daniel Mungrain from Martyr. You'll see it in like Drawn and Torn Asunder. But it sounds so much more interesting than like alternate. Or what I recommend just going. You can use it anywhere.
It's just sneaking that uptick in there, right? We can't hear this stuff,
And it just makes rhythm guitar playing a little bit more fun, having that break between all down picking or all alternate. One sec.
I totally did. I forgot he couldn't hear us.
Sorry, say again.
I totally forgot you couldn't hear us. So I was like, oh, so it's just sneaking that uptick in there, right?
And you're like, oh,
and
cool, Matt. Thanks,
just,
dude.
Matt's just in here jamming.
But yeah, so down, 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 up, down, da dun da da dun da dun da da dun. Who was I talking to about with where I realized it was the John Williams from Star Wars. Dun 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 down,
Oh,
down.
man.
Is
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it is.
Oh,
So I would test that
so every
out.
song you play is Phantom Menace, essentially.
Yes.
You got Phantom Menace.
I guess
Yeah.
so. But yeah, that's
Dun,
one of my
dun, dun.
favorite things in the world, because there's so many people that there's so many shredders nowadays, which is awesome. So many people that have so many cool lead techniques, but I feel like rhythm guitar has sort of taken a backseat to lead guitar, and we need
Sorry,
more.
is that technique the one in Crisis of Revelation?
Yes. Yes. Down, 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 down,
Yeah.
down, down, down.
I can't play that song. Like
You can just take it like 15 slower, and you'll get it.
yeah, I'm sure I could do it. Yeah, it's just like after a couple of repetitions, it's like I get tripped up. It's like I don't know. It must be the technique. Like yeah, I could do it a couple times, but it I think I don't know. At some point, my brain just like ugh, and I mess it up. But
Once you get that pattern as muscle memory, you'll have it down. And yeah, same thing with Fly's thing. Same with any of the strenuous stuff. I remember there was actually a song that I couldn't finish on the record. I track all the rhythm guitars for all of our albums for consistency's sake. I believe most metal bands do that just to have like one unified voice. Like Corey and I are just as good as each other at rhythm. But I remember it was Insurrection. It was so much down picking, and it was so fast. And that was when I was using like super thick strings. Like the producer was like, hey, let's use super thick strings, super heavy guitars. Maybe it'll show through the tone. It didn't really. But I was like, just give me 5 minutes. Like I did like 10 takes of the verse. I couldn't do it. It did not sound right. I was like, just give me 5 minutes. I went outside. I come back in. Oh, it was Callisto. Sorry, the chat knew better than me. It was Callisto. I come back in, and Corey just finished recording with our producer, Nick. And I was like, thanks, guys. I was like, I just wanted the 5 minutes. I was like, I want to do this. So it's actually Corey on that part, because I couldn't get it. But Corey, he's got serious stamina for his down picking. But like I said, I pick a lot harder. Down, 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 up, down. Learn that. It's a lot of fun. Once you have that, you'll do ascendancy and all that stuff. Suffocating, what's really cool about that is I've shown that riff to a lot of really great guitar players, and they can't play it because it's another weird like. It's a fun little thing. So I encourage you guys, screw around with your rhythms and try to make fun new little patterns. That it's like the economy thing that you did. It's like a different approach to it all.
So it is just sneaking that uppick in there in the middle of the almost right.
It's because it's starting with a down, so down, 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 up, down. So it's like down picking for the first two notes, then it's alternate picking.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And you can even just do it on one string. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, and it's really cool. I believe Nate sent you guys some of the new MKHs. I think. Do you guys have those in hand?
I don't have them on hand because our office like
No
they're
worries.
like hiding our packages for the next. Yeah, Chain could show it off right there.
Ooh.
I can't wait to put them in.
They're freaking
Yeah.
awesome. First time I ever tried Fishman's was actually at the Tampa show. Ken Susi was like, "Hey, you should try them out like with band practice first or on a record first." And I said, "No, I'm gonna try it at a show first." So that's like a pretty big gamble to switch something out that big. But I noticed it was the sin of the sentence verse. I was always off tempo. It's not that it's the hardest down picking thing, but it's kind of hard to down pick on like the A string, or is it the A string? Yeah. I noticed that. Have you guys ever played like a plug-in or a suite thing where you feel like massive latency? Hey, look at that! Look at that jerk on that card.
Who's
right
that
there.
guy? Yeah.
It's man. That latency that you get sometimes from suites or from playing like digital pedals or digital something. I noticed all of a sudden I had zero latency in my playing. And I don't know if that was the correct way to describe it, but that's what I felt the first time I ever used the Fluence Moderns. I was like, all right, I feel like I'm
Just responsive.
perfectly in time with the response. It felt like a much more like organic connection between what I was playing, what was coming through. So I hope you guys love those things. The 3-voice is pretty insane. I love the single coil.
On this, I've got moderns in the JM.
They're
and
so
it actually leads me into, you mentioned Ken. Ken is awesome. This pickup shipped dead,
Yeah.
and Ken's like within like 2 days got me a new
That's
one.
awesome. That's awesome.
He's such a good guy. Yeah, and with the best part is he sent me an extra one on accident, and I was like, "Hey, Ken," I had this whole debate in my head, like, devil on the one shoulder, angel on the other, right? Keep it. Hey, you should let Ken know. And I was like, this guy won. So I was like, "Hey, Ken, you sent me an extra one." He's like, just keep it anyway."
That's
so
awesome.
They both won.
I do the same thing. I remember I had a data subscription to the LiveU, the provider of like how I stream the backpack. I noticed my plan was still going, but I wasn't paying for it. I was like, guys, just so you know, I still have the plan active and I'm not paying. So I'd like to be paying for this. They're like, oh, thank you so much. It's better, just be honest. It feels
Yeah,
better.
always.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to do that.
Yes. But yeah, I can't wait. It's till you guys get these installed. I don't know how good you are with that stuff. I'm not personally good at installing it, but
I'm gonna take it to somebody. Just trust it.
I'm
with
not
my friend
good with
Dr.
that.
John.
what's nuts is just like the Fluence Moderns having the active and the passive voice. The way Susie described it to me is the pickups are essentially like passive pickups with active technology. So the active voice is like super aggressive and like sharp and shrill in a great way. You pull it up, it's a little bit more gentle. The third voice is insane. It's like dad single coil, jazzy, weird. Not even jazzy, like stratty, nasty, awesome. And when I was playing on my new 7-string, it's freaking so much fun to play that low B with that. You guys both pick 7-string, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both went 7s. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so I can't wait to you guys
That's
get.
gonna go in. That's the wrong one. Gonna go in this one. Put it.
Heck yes.
Pick out these EMGs,
Yeah.
dude.
I think I
Heck
might
yes.
put it in this one here.
That one's so cool. What a cool guitar.
Well, it's got they got the gold stripe.
Yep.
And this is all gold
Ooh, that-
hardware, so I think
that
it'll
makes so much
it'll
sense.
match nice. Yeah.
Hell yes.
Yep.
Awesome, my friends. Well, it was so great to finally get to know you guys a lot better than I already did. Like, I've always known you through here, but I wanted to know you guys way more, and it was a freaking pleasure. Thank you so much, my
This
friends.
is a lot of fun.
Yeah, make sure
Yeah, it was a lot
please
of fun.
shout out both
Loved
your
it.
URLs. Everyone in here already follows you guys, but this is for kind of the replays.
I'll just say hi in chat. Oh yeah, for the replays.
Yes,
Yeah,
yep.
so twitch.tv/Younggun, YOUNGGUN. I'm on a break till Tuesday, but then I'm back, and yeah, ready to rock it.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can follow me on twitch.tv/Chainbrain. I also have a YouTube channel. Same thing, Chainbrain. If you Google Chainbrain, one word, I'm at the top.
Awesome. So make sure
Yeah,
everybody's
dude.
following them on everything, every single platform. Amazing people, early adopters of the platform of having music on Twitch. So we gotta hail to the old kings. Well done, dudes. Thank you so much, my friends. Absolute pleasure. Great to chat to you guys.
Thanks for having me.
I'll see you
Thanks for
soon,
having us,
dudes.
man.
Later, guys.
All right,
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye bye.